President is really super concerned about the skyrocketing gas prices. Watch.
This gas issue is serious. It hurts.
Yes, it does. So he's going to get down to the bottom of it. He's going to roll up his sleeves. He's going to figure it out through the Justice Department. He's created a new oil and gas price fraud working group, which that's oil and gas price fraud working group. That's I hope they come in like denim shirts like Jay Leno does. You know what I'm saying? Their mission is to make sure there isn't any price gouging going on. Now, Attorney General Eric Holder, who's there for you, readily admits there is no evidence at all whatsoever of any illegal conduct happening at the present time. Zero, none, nada, zip. But that's not stopping the DOJ. Quote, "We're going to be vigilant in monitoring the oil and gas markets for any wrongdoing so consumers can be confident that they're not paying higher gas prices as a result of illegal activity." That is just laughable because you're not paying higher gas prices because of illegal activity. I know why you're paying higher gas prices, and I am too. Uh-oh. Should I not say it on TV, Mr. President? First of all, the FTC is supposed to handle stuff like this, the Federal Trade Commission. Second, wasn't that big, huge financial reform bill, wasn't that supposed to protect us from all of this? It was the greatest piece of legislation ever rushed through Congress. It's going to stop all the corruption and prevent financial crashes from ever happening again. The bill is thousands of pages. Now let me ask you, super guy, how could you forget to cover the energy sector? Are you that incompetent? Every downturn since the 1970s, except for September 11th, has been led by an energy downturn. So you guys make this big, huge pile of paper. You regulate everything literally from yard sales to how you breastfeed children. But oopsie, we forgot about oil? Let me ask you this. Is the Federal Trade Commission irrelevant? Or is this smoke and mirrors because you actually know what's causing the energy prices to climb? And at the bottom of the hour, so will the American people. But first, a house divided against itself cannot stand. Hello, America. All right, there's chaos going on all around the globe. America is currently involved in 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 wars. But the good news is all in Muslim countries. But there is another war that is going on, and this one is more insidious because most people don't know it's going on. It's one for all the marbles. It is the one that every American needs to know about, but especially those who are Tea Party members. You should be aware of this. There's a war that's been going on for quite some time, yet most Americans are just now waking up to it. It is the war for the hearts and the minds, and both parties waged by the progressives. The progressives are not going to fade away silently into the night because someone shined a light on them. Why should they stop? They're on a roll. It was just only a couple of presidential elections ago that it became apparent that Democrats had sold their soul to the progressives, or at least that's what they were calling it at the time, liberals. In 2004, when Michael Moore, a radical redistribute the wealth progressive Marxist, I was going to say communist, but I don't know if he's full-fledged communist yet, was placed right in the presidential box next to wonder of all wonders, Jimmy Carter, at the National Convention for the Democrats. Now, I come from a long line of lifelong Democrats in my family, and none of them would stand with the socialist, Marxist, or communist revolutionaries that the Democrats today have aligned themselves with. But it happened slowly over time until it was just the way it was. I've told you before that there are progressives in both parties. This isn't an exclusive thing to the Democratic Party. You'll notice nobody really had a problem when I talked about it during the CPAC speech. When was it? A year ago, year and a half ago? I said, this is happening. This is not a Democratic problem. This is a Democrat and Republican. Well, all things were helpful until we started gearing up for a 2012 campaign. Now, the purge is beginning. You might have read the news in the Washington Post this weekend if you're one of the, 50 people that still read things in the Washington Post. It's about the right-on-right infighting that is happening right now. For liberals, that's like girl-on-girl porn. It is. And the media is going to cover that whenever they can because they think, oh, look, we can show the right's falling apart. But let me see if you see a notice in all of these so-called fights. Let's look at some of the controversial people from the right whom others on the right have said they've just gone too far. There's Michelle Bachmann. There's Jim DeMint. There's Rick Santorum. There's Sarah Palin. And then there's little old me. And I believe you should know that tea parties are going to be added to that list. It's almost like anyone who poses a threat to the establishment, somebody that calls a progressive, Lindsey Graham, and all of a sudden you're getting a tire iron shoved into your wheels. Isn't that weird? You're getting shot from the front and the back. Last week on my radio program, former Governor Mike Huckabee took exception when I referred to him as a progressive Republican. I understand that. We've made progressive a bad word. Well, he launched into attack mode right away and, among other things, said this.
Look, I'm no fan of her husband's policies for sure, but I have appreciated her efforts that Beck misrepresented, either out of ignorance or out of a deliberate attempt to distort them to create yet another booger bear hiding in the closet that he and only he can see.
What's a booger bear? I don't know what a booger bear is. He was defending Michelle Obama's Food for Kids program, which is a I'm not going to get into it. He also said that I should stick to conspiracy theories that can't be so easily be debunked by facts. Now, here's the thing. I found this an odd attack angle because, why is he so defensive on this? The facts are really clear on Michelle Obama and the Huckabee record. But you decide for yourself. Here's how I reached the conclusion that Mike Huckabee is a progressive Republican, out of the mold of John McCain, which is not a bad thing if you're a progressive Republican. First, Michelle Obama's obesity program, not a conservative program, no. Grows the size of government. It's progressive. The parent, not the state, should decide how kids should eat, period. Next, tax increases 47% overall during his tenure as governor. He explicitly expressed his approval of several different forms of tax increases, including income taxes. You have to see this monologue at glennbeck.com. The state spending increased in Arkansas. Spending increased by 65.3% under Governor Huckabee. The numbers of state workers in the government rose by 20%. Conservatives, is that good or is that bad? Is that bigger government or smaller government? The state's general obligation debt shot up by almost $1 billion. He wants a sales tax on internet goods. Now, does this make him Barack Obama? No, not even close. But I do believe it makes him a Republican progressive. They exist, booger bears and all. Now, is that good for the country? Well, that's for you to decide, not me. It's not an attack on Mike Huckabee. He is a co-worker and respected American. The media is playing it up, though. Also playing up a new spat I didn't even know I was having with Andrew Breitbart. Last week, he went on a media tour, and the number one talking point each interviewer eagerly asked is about our supposed feud. I didn't know we had one. But from what I can figure out from all of these interviews, it has something to do with me supposedly ratting him out on Shirley Sherrod. I don't remember ratting him out on that. I ratted out the NAACP, who gave Andrew Breitbart the tape. They almost caught me in it as well. For a couple of hours in the morning, I was with him, and then something didn't feel right. The only ones with the tape, the full tape, the NAACP, not Breitbart. And they condemned Shirley Sherrod right away. So what's the spat about? Then in the Washington Post, it came again. This weekend, Breitbart made comments that religion plays no role in the current awakening that is going on, and said that anyone who claims otherwise is hijacking the Tea Party. Well, first of all, I think, Andrew, there would need to be a pilot of the Tea Party for it to be hijacked. I believe the Tea Party is what the people make it. Who's the leader? I relate to Tea Party members, but I never claimed to be a leader of it. And the same with the 9/12 Project, which I started. I'm not a leader of it. The people will lead. But like it or not, religion has a lot to do with what's happening in America. As Reverend Billy Graham's daughter, Ann Graham, said, "For years, we have told God to get out of our schools, our government, and get out of our lives. He, being the gentleman he is, has kindly and quietly backed out. How could we expect his blessings or protection if we continually demand he leaves us alone?" I am a private citizen, but I happen to believe religion plays a huge role in what's happening in America, good and bad. People are still trying to claim that religion isn't what it's all about in the Middle East. It is. We are witnessing also in America what I believe is the beginning of the Third Awakening, or it will be the end of America, at least the America that I knew growing up. All big movements in America have started with God. And if we don't know that, we are destined to make this headline that was on Drudge today absolutely true. The age of America nears end. How do I know it? Well, let me show you the video that came out last week, the McDonald's fight. This is one of the most horrifying videos that you will ever see. I mean, please don't let your kids watch this. This is awful. A girl is being viciously assaulted by two other girls. I think one's 14 and the other one's 17. A worker provides lukewarm support and tries to get the attackers to leave. No one in the restaurant helps this girl as she sits here. Now watch her. She sits here against the wall, badly beaten. An older woman tries to step in, but the attackers eventually come back. Eventually, the tape shows the victim going, watch this. This is a seizure this girl is having, bleeding from the mouth. The person taking the video doesn't put the camera down, just films it and warns the attackers to get out because the cops are coming, and then leaves the victim alone on the floor having a seizure. What kind of animals are we becoming? This is what happens when you cut God out. You revert back to animals. At the beginning, after this happened, there were no groups organizing any of the protests. There weren't even a group of 3 people that would step in and help the girl as she was having a seizure. But then it was discovered that the victim was transgendered. Now there are groups demonstrating, and they're organized. Oh, I see. Oh, I get it. The crime was a little more acceptable when the victim didn't fit into the scope of some special interest group that could use this for power. Are you becoming disgusted by who we are becoming? Can we look at things like human beings rather than groups? Groups, policies, parties, politicians, government, big or small, cannot fix what is wrong with us. Only we can. Only a moral and virtuous people can. The founders knew that the only way to attain a moral and virtuous people was through religion. The religion of your choosing, but live it. Live it.